All right, looks like we are live on YouTube. Hello and welcome, everybody. So today's episode is Talk Power BI Dashboard, Showcase, and Makeover. And if you want more information about that, you can go to our site, learnpowerbi.com/dashboard. But really, this is founded on something. So I've been obsessed with, those who know me, I've been obsessed with about the past 2 years to figure out breakthrough success because I realized that clearly Power BI is not it. I've trained thousands of students, well, 1,000+ students, and of course through my Learn Power BI program, and of course through my channel, I'm sure thousands more. But I only saw a few who just had this breakthrough big success. You've heard the story, you've seen them on my channels. Justina Buck, Pam Baker were the initial ones who inspired it. And I've been obsessed with that. And there's one thing that I've found common amongst all of them. And it kind of makes sense. In this day and age, you can't just do good work and expect that that's going to lead to success. That was the old way of doing things. I think in this day and age, you got to do good work, but tell great stories. You got to show up and talk about your work and showcase your work and show them how awesome you are. And you should do that within your own company. But, unlike my dad who worked for the same company all of his life, these days people change companies on an average about 3.5 years, I think. So it's important to go beyond that. So that can be a great starting point, but you got to go beyond that and get other forums and social media and all of that stuff. I can't speak today. All of those platforms and share your story. And you're going to inspire so many. And of course, you're going to help your own professional career as well. And that doesn't matter if you want to stay as an employee or stay as a consultant. This is a common thread that unites all of them, right? So that's what we believe in. So this is our platform, our spotlight to showcase, first of all, our amazing Learn Power BI students and the amazing work they're doing. But of course, all of the YouTube audience as well. So again, learnpowerbi.com/dashboard. And that's the way to kind of submit your entry. It really just, if you click on that button, it has me, it opens up a place where you can send me an email. But it does have some important disclaimer. And of course, the number one objection that I hear from people is that, oh, Avi, but I have sensitive data. Well, let me ask you this. Somebody in your industry have you seen anybody present anything ever in a conference or blog about it? I'm sure you have. So there is a way. In fact, one of my approaches is really quick and easy, and there's a video right there which walks you through it, which is you take a screenshot of your dashboard, blur out the sensitive data, and just send that in. And the key is, my friend, to get started. The first time you tell your story, it is going to be the worst storytelling you would do, right? So, and as it happens in a lot of things. But of course, every time you do it, you get better and better and better. And if you think about it, that's the agile approach. And hey, I'm a huge believer in agile BI, and in this case, agile living. All right, so that's my pitch for Dashboard, Showcase, and Makeover. I think a lot of you did submit it. I'll admit, I'm kind of running a bit late, so I haven't checked up, but I think I saw quite a few submissions, and so I'm excited about that. But we do have something really cool before we step in. Before I go there, let me just make sure YouTube things are looking good. I see Manish, I see Amar. Let me just say some hellos. I see Sunny, Ridha, Danny, Ops, Frankie, Juan Kim, Ashish, Alejandro. Good to see you guys. And of course, we have our Learn Power BI members.
Oh, wow.
I'm just going to say hi to everybody. So folks, I would put you on mute. I was hearing some noise. But I see Bob, Carl, Darren, Dave, Emily, Eric, two Erics, Greg, Jason, Jeff, Juan, and Martha. So hello and welcome to all. So folks, if you have been tuned in the past 2 weeks, well, and if you weren't, then you missed out big time. Because we've been running the real Power BI presentations and talk about telling a story. Oh my gosh, these guys brought it. And so we've had that, and we've had a whole round of voting. And today we're going to announce the winner. So, so this is, we had 2 events, 8 presentations, and we're going to be giving away $1,000 in cash prize. And this is it. So Let me see if I have everything set up here. Slideshow primary. All right, folks. So, oops. Let me see. Let me see. So, real Power BI project presentation, past 2 weeks, and didn't we hear some amazing stories? So, put in the comments below if you joined us in the past 2 weeks, if you voted for some of them. Let us know. Let us know again that, yep, what was their experience there? I was certainly blown away. It's and yeah, so we had it in two groups, and both were pretty phenomenal. And folks, I know it takes a little bit of a courage to step onto this, right? To have the spotlight shining on you. But that is what differentiates the doers from everybody else. So my coach has this analogy where he talks about where Avi, don't worry about the people in the stands, right? So they're in the stands, and you would find critics galore, right? There would be people who would be telling you, "Oh, you shouldn't have done this. I told you so." That crowd. Don't worry about that. It's your job. If you have donned the armor and you have stepped in the arena, you're playing the game, right? Not a different game. You're playing the game. They're not. They're watching on the sidelines. And these folks stepped into the arena, donned their armor, and man, did they wow us with their show. So I was pretty impressed, and I was really glad. Both Marianne and I discussed this, and we were like, we want nothing to do with selecting the winner because it would have been so hard. So we left it up to voting. We had votes coming in from a YouTube audience and a student audience as well. So we've combined that. And so $1,000 in cash prize, $500 winner from each event. And the winner from the first event is Greg Berg. Awesome, Greg. Congratulations. Good work made. And for the second event, the winner for that one, based on voting, is Ian Bowman. So congratulations to both Greg and Ian. And folks, so of course, right now we are in unprecedented times. There is a lot of chaos in the world, and you've heard me talk about it, where I've said that it is a challenge as well as an opportunity, and it's an opportunity to step up and be bold and lead and show the way. Business ain't dead. It is not going to be dead. We are alive and kicking, and businesses need help, and Power BI professionals are here to help. And of course, these 8 amazing folks stepped up and showed that. So I wanted to do something extra as a gesture of huge thank you for inspiring me and everybody else. So along with the big winner prizes, all of the other participants, they're also gonna get kind of gift check of $100 to all participants, just because they're amazing. All right, folks. So that was a real Power BI presentation. Now let's switch over to dashboard, showcase, and makeover. So let's see. I think so, folks. Sorry, I'm a little more organized this than usual. Usually have listed out everybody who submitted, but today let me just call out first. Jeff, I see you on. That's great. So we were exchanging emails. So on the phone, let's start there. So put it in the chat window, or just speak up and tell me if you submitted a dashboard. I know Jeff did, so I have one. If anybody else did, put it in the chat window over here. So Jeff, go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'll try to pull up what you sent in, and we can start with that. All right.
Hey, muted.
All right, nice. Yep, I think I can hear you. Well, I can hear you. Okay, so let's see, Jeff, and so one was a screenshot. I think that was earlier. That was sent. When was this? This was Tuesday. But then recently you had sent in. Actually, I have a few emails from you. What is the best one? So process monitor.pbix, and then I have a few
Yeah,
screenshots.
that
Which
one's
is
gonna
the
be
best one? The PBIX file?
yes.
Okay, awesome. Bringing it up.
It'll be a little bit. It's a lot of data.
Oh, really? Okay. Top Power BI.
Not a ton. I mean, it's a subset.
Okay.
And this is my first presentation, so I get to be awful and not worry about it.
I know. That's so liberating, right? The first time my
I
coach
know,
said
right?
it, I had to like think about like, is it like what did he just say? It's like, oh yeah, Avi, your first presentation is gonna be your worst presentation. I'm like, what? Are you telling me I suck? But it gives you liberty to suck and like, yeah, okay. And frankly, the feeling once you get over it, I mean, yeah, I mean, oh boy, I mean, often our demons are far bigger than actually facing the real thing, right? I mean, um, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm glad you're here. So I think I saved the file, and all right, folks, we're getting closer to our first dashboard. Just don't hold your breath, though. Bingo, got it. All right, so this was I opened the email that was sent to me earlier on Tuesday, and I think you sent recently. It's the same file, right? You didn't update it or anything, did you?
No.
Okay. All right, there we go. The marching dots, marching ants. I don't know what they're called. Remember the old days when there used to be a 0 to 100% progress bar, and of course software
Yeah.
makers they got smart. They're like, oh no man, that's too hard. That's pointless to share that. And it would get up to like 98% and just stop. You're like, what is going on?
And then you don't know if it's still working or if it's hung.
Yep. All right,
And
let
you can
me.
see
Yeah.
my wife's haircut, my COVID haircut, it was really bad 2 weeks ago. Like, "Grr."
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I gave myself a haircut. Man, the hair coming over my ear, that was just too much. All right.
While we're waiting for it to come up, while my wife watched all these YouTube videos about how not to create a coconut haircut, like you have a coconut or a bad toupee. And I
Yeah.
think it liminally got to
She
her and
nailed it.
did it in, even after watching the videos. Because
All
the
right.
biggest bad toupee haircut I've ever seen, the worst bad toupee haircut I've ever seen.
All right, cool. Actually, I
Okay,
just
hold on.
realized.
I have to speak up. You guys look fine. My husband looks like the heat miser at this point, so
Oh, I was glad to have it all off my face and
I will
everything.
Yeah.
not touch his head. No way. I'm not cutting it.
All right, great. Wow. So Jeff, actually, I just realized that we could also have done it differently, which I don't know, maybe even faster, which you can present from your screen and drive it, or I can give you keyboard and mouse control, and that way you can click around and show us.
Yeah, well, I still got the dancing ants on my side. So let's do give me control here.
Okay.
I'm request-
Actually, I don't know how to give you control. Can you ask for control?
Yeah, I requested it. So
Oh,
you should
perfect.
get
Yeah, perfect. All right, great. So why don't you walk us through, tell us the story of this dashboard,
Yeah,
and
so I'm in charge
maybe a bit of
of
your story
at
too.
our
Yeah.
at our company, I'm in charge of the automated batch processing system. And in theory, it's automated, right? So it should just go by itself. But I know from all the trouble calls that I get that it's far from automated in some respects. So I
Hmm.
want to find, where are we not being automated? Where are we spending man hours? And so
Yeah.
I thought what I would do is give you an analogy that's non-technical, so hopefully everybody can potentially understand this.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
so,
ultimately,
so sorry.
this is
What is the system? What is the system that's being monitored or
Autosys.
processed?
Yeah, it's called Autosys. It's a batch scheduling system.
Okay.
We run about 2 million jobs a month. And, you know, in theory, they should be just self-maintaining, no big deal, and things like that. But
Yeah.
uh, question becomes, well, when do we have to manually intervene in this automated process?
Yeah.
And there's three types of events that sort of we
So
are.
is this uh man, I'm on thin ice here, but is this like something to do with mainframes and stuff?
Yeah, but
All right.
it's servers.
Got it.
So
Got it. Yeah.
Windows servers are.
So, man, I briefly worked in a data center group, and I did know that these things, these servers, mainframes, these systems cost a pretty penny.
Mhm.
And often my understanding back then was that the new models were that you didn't buy these machines, you kind of leased them or you paid for capacity, even though they were
Yeah.
hosted in here. But they cost quite a bit, so it makes sense to have metrics and have visibility to see that, hey, is that investment being utilized efficiently, correctly, and so forth. Am I kind of getting it right?
Uh, yes and no. So yes, you're right, but I'm more looking at why are we hiring so many people to support this thing that should run itself?
Uh-huh. All right. Cool.
So yeah, um, so there's three things that basically cause man hours or work: a job failing,
Mm-hmm.
and the response to the job can either be some sort of action, um, and and then another response can be to change the definition of the job, right? So
Yeah.
you modify it. So, but I think an analogy might be more helpful. I mean, it really is just a scheduling system. The context of the data isn't all that important. You could actually think of this like we're a big landscaping company and we've got several sub companies, and we're scheduling people to go out and do certain things at certain times. And they have a work ticket, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
work ticket is, well, you can do this job starting at 3, or you can do this job after this has happened and this has happened and this has happened. So you don't want to fertilize the lawn if it's not going to rain, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the context of when you do your work, and so in theory, this scheduling system with the landscaping company is just going to work fine. But then periodically things are going to break, and you're going to have to call the mechanic and say, "Hey, come out here," and my mower broke or my scissors broke or whatever. I mean, I'm not a
Yeah.
landscape. These bad terms.
But no,
But you
that's a
call,
great analogy. Yeah, that works. And
yeah,
of course, folks, so for those who are watching, I mean, you can see that you may have a version of that for your own business, for your own company, team, organization, right? So thanks. That's hey, man, you're off to a
yeah.
good start here. I love that.
Yeah. So that's one thing. Like I need to call the boss and have them come out here and do something so I can do my job. And that's what the contacts are.
Yeah.
To use language that was not AutoSys specific,
Mm-hmm.
because I want this to go to managers, and managers don't know the AutoSys lingo.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the idea of a force start or a job on ice or a job on
Yeah.
hold. And
That's
so the
brilliant.
other,
Love it. I think
so the
that man, that's really brilliant. So, folks, I want to call it out. So, Jeff, I mean, he may not realize it, but he's pretty far ahead of the game. So, I think this is kind of a higher level game where you understand that generally, as an analyst, your job is to bridge kind of the tech side with the business side, and yeah. So, Jeff, yeah, I loved hearing that from you. Cool.
cool. So then admin is the stuff that the worker bees can fix themselves. Like, well, I tried to mow the lawn, but the blade came off and I had to, I had to screw it back on, but I had a wrench, I'm good to go. So admin are sort of things that people fix themselves.
All
And
right.
then obviously the initial thing that triggers either admin or contact is something broke. So I've got the ability to, and so this is data from January 1st, 2019. So I've got all the successes in there. I've got all the fails. I've got all the contacts. I've got all the admins.
Mm-hmm.
And so people can, um,
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Take over the mouse. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. So using my terms, they can slice and dice. So we're just looking at contact costs. We can just look at admin costs.
Mm-hmm.
And then these are all, this got, you can see the detail. Just, there's so many different ways you could do admin, or so many different kinds of fixes you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to do is just say, by company and by group and by job. So
Yeah.
at each level of granularity, who's the
Wow.
most expensive?
Yeah.
But seeing this kind of the heat map up here, it's, you wouldn't put that in the, I tried putting it in the bars, but the colors were too smashed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can still, I can look at the most expensive job in terms of admin, and then
Yeah.
you can see that it's almost all command or something way over here.
Yeah.
But then details down here. So this was updated 43 times. This had 43 admins in the year and a quarter. And we're just giving some,
Yeah.
I'm just picking some constants and saying an admin costs X dollars. And then I'm just counting and multiplying them basically.
Awesome.
And then, but kind of the cool thing too is you can do just total costs, which is fails, admins, and contacts.
All right. So now it's a stacked graph.
Yeah. So let me get the selection back. So it's easy to see what's the most expensive company in my landscape. Who am I spending who am I having to spend the most man hours supporting?
Yeah.
By company, by group, because the most expensive group might not be in the most expensive company, and the most expensive job might not be in the most expensive group.
Yeah.
So you can see the different,
Man, this is awesome. And yeah, you ran us through the story really good. So is there something else that you think is worth looking at or interesting in the other tabs?
Yeah, so let's how do I
And what's this what's the panel on the side? Is that the slicer panel?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they can slice and so
Whoa. I always love these ones.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So what's cool about this is we can use this slicer. The whole idea of this is to say, hey, where are we spending time and dollars? And able to prove that, to upper management that these efforts have resulted in cost savings. So by I'm updating it every day, and then by selecting the current date range and comparing it to the prior date range, you can actually show your bosses, hey, we cut contact costs by 25% this year.
Yeah. Hey, folks on YouTube, if you love slicer panels like this, give us a shout out. Let us know. And if you've used them, yeah, this is pretty cool. Awesome. So,
The one page I might want to show that isn't there is there's a stale jobs.
Yep. There we go.
So what we have here is basically we have existing work orders that we haven't gone out to the customer and done any yard work in so many years. Why do we have these work orders still in our system?
Yeah.
So it's broken down by year. When was the last time we serviced this customer? And hopefully
spot on. Yeah.
Clean it up. And I mean, certainly we don't need to keep things that are 7 years old.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen, I mean, this is pretty, and again, right? I mean, you can take this scenario and kind of airlift into so many other business segments, verticals. I'm thinking of purchase orders. This is a classic thing that we looked at, kind of the aging report, right? I mean, we have purchase orders, but man, and there's one that is 2 days old, one that is 2 years old. Why is that there? Or right now, what's the average age? How's it trending over time? There's so much fun you can have with this stuff, it's kind of this aging stuff. So that's awesome. Cool. Anything else you want to call out here on in a different tab?
No, I think that's a good start.
All right, great. So, hey, folks, first of all, let's give Jeff some kudos, right? I mean, this is pretty amazing. And he said this is his kind of first time kind of sharing his story, but clearly it's not his first time building something in Power BI. At least I wouldn't guess so. I hope not, because that would make everybody else look bad. So yeah, this is pretty phenomenal. So certainly kudos to you, Jeff, on that.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna let's put on our kind of a feedback, Stephen Few hats, if you will, dashboard design. By the way, it's kind of odd that I haven't linked to it, but some of the principles that we look for on this call, of course, I cover a lot of that inside my course, but there's also a brief video online. So if you go on my channel, and right up top is the good stuff, which is well, my best videos, right? And in this playlist, let me. I think the second video, the first is, of course, the famous Power BI tutorial, which everybody has seen, I hope. If you haven't, that's a great place to start. But but in here is this video, how to create beautiful Power BI dashboards, which talks about some of the principles we go through. So you can also use that. So we're gonna put that hat on, and I would say first impression that it looks beautiful, right? It looks kind of clean. So I like that. First impression is really good. Next, I often do the squint test. So I'm going to kind of squint my eyes and see what catches my attention first, what's still kind of visible. And so what was visible to me in the squint test was this, which was awesome, and then this as well. So that's good, right? I mean, and in the video, and of course inside my course, I talk about a power pattern, which is really simple, but I love putting big bold numbers on the top. Hey, that's the most important stuff. Bam, there it is, right? And I love using cards for that. Just putting your kind of numbers. You can get fancy. I mean, there are cards with states and all that stuff. That's okay, but even if you start just with this, so I love this one. I think this is beautiful. Big bold numbers. Like, yep, this is the stuff you care about. So I love that. I feel like this guy is kind of competing with it a little bit. Maybe there's something we can do visually to kind of move things around, but it's good. Yeah. So so I think it's good that way. Next, maybe let's look at the layout. So generally, the layout is in the way we read text, right? So we read from if I like get it right, if I left to right and top to bottom. Hey, I think I got it right. So that's the way we read, and that's the way we scan. So of course, not all real estate on your screen is equal. This is really important, and then it kind of goes in from there. So that way, I feel like this feels a little oddly positioned. So maybe that can you can try a few things. And again, folks, there's no kind of right or wrong answer here. There's just something you try different things. And maybe Jeff already tried it. It's like, oh, yeah, I tried placing it somewhere else and so forth. It just didn't kind of work. So right. So there's no right or wrong, but yeah, just kind of things you can tweak. But I feel like there is I'm being pulled towards kind of if this can be positioned here and maybe the slicer here, but then of course I realized that, man, we don't have space for the tree map. So, kind of a tricky situation there. So maybe it's laid out well given the constraints. So that looks good. The visuals are all Stephen Few approved. So folks, simple is best. You've heard the rule KISS, keep it simple, silly, right? So simple is good. And in the video that I mentioned and inside my course, I talk about how in the power pattern, I just use my staple elements, which are basically text elements. That includes everything from table, matrix, cards, and all of that, multi-row card, right? So text elements. And then I use column charts or bar charts and line charts. And is that it? Maybe that's it. I think there was one more, but I can't remember, right? So that's my staple. And folks, I've been in Power BI consulting for a long time. That's still what I build starting out almost 95% of the time for my clients. I wouldn't have anything else. And anything else you need, you can, once you build that with the simple stuff, then you can say, oh, do I need something else? Do I need kind of something fancier, right? So, but tree map is also one of the Stephen Few approved visuals. There are some which Stephen Few wouldn't approve, and hence I wouldn't approve too. What can I say? I like Stephen Few. Pie chart is one of them. I have used pie charts though. But tree map is good. So tree map can be very effective, very visual. So I think this works really well in this context. And I really love this layout. And I think Stephen Few has a name for it. It's not quite small multiples. I don't think that's what this is. But I think this is really effective. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that I have never thought of doing it, because I've always struggled with, and let me know in the chat window if you've had the same struggle, I've always struggled with drill down in Power BI. I think drill down is just hard to use. Like there are two things when you look at a user interface, including the user interface for your report, Power BI, and so forth. There are two things which are important. One is discoverability, and is it discoverable and is it intuitive to use, right? So discoverable means you don't have to guide and hold their hand and point their mouse to, oh, you click here to drill down. You don't have to do that. It's discoverable, right? And the other is that once they do discover that, oh, there's something here, then is it intuitive? And I think the drill down in Power BI is neither. I always have to tell my users, oh, you have to drill down and you have to show them. And yes, I know Power BI, there's some stuff they've tried to improve, but I don't think is there yet. So I'm not a fan of drill down, and but this I think is a brilliant way to show different levels without having to struggle with or have to train your users or teach them or remind them. Say, oh, there's drill down here, because it shows all levels right here. So if you didn't realize this is levels of a hierarchy, imagine this could be anything. This could be, I don't know, like I can only think of an AdventureWorks data now. So there's group, region, country, or something like that, and of course cost center hierarchy, whatever, right? So you could show a hierarchy this way. So Jeff, man, this is brilliant. You should name it like the Jeff's layout of something, cascading layout. Just name it, trademark it, and you'll be good to go. All right, sorry, you're in mute. I can see you.
I know. I just had to show you me laughing. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Send it to Stephen Few. He would like that too. Anyway, but yeah, this is really nice. So folks, what do you think? Drill down is off by default. Yeah. But I think this is brilliant. And of course, so let me do this. Let me go back to just one. So Jeff, help me understand. Oh, context admin. So for some of them it shows stacked. For others it doesn't. What is that about?
Yeah. So like I was talking about, if I were to try to break that down by the type of modifications they do, the graph would just be unreadable.
Oh, okay, got it. And
I mean, I wanted to put it in there, but you can see when
yeah,
you the tree, there's all the lower right corner. There's all kinds of ways that people
yeah.
could
But man,
change it.
how are you doing it then? So is it bookmarks when I select contacts? Am I looking at a different graph?
No, I'm actually using a measure
Ah,
calculate to pick selected hours versus selected count versus selected. So it's a switch true scenario.
so it gives a breakdown in one case, but not in the other one?
Uh, well, what's happening is the column when you select update. How would I-
Yeah. So the legend in this case is event, but when I go to admins, events only has one value, it seems. Right?
Yeah, because there's all they can do is update a job,
Got it.
and the
All
tree
right.
map is showing how they updated it.
Okay, perfect. All right. So yeah, I like this one, and I'm just gonna work through this cascade because I think it's so cool. So if I click on this, it does this and does that. The only thing that I feel that I might change is that change the interaction here, because my gut feel is that this is going to work better as a filter instead of highlight. Man, it's hard to get all the terms right, isn't it? Drill through and drill down. I always mix them up. So let's just try that and see how that's going to work. So edit interactions mode, and what I'm going to do is come in here. So you saw the current behavior. So folks on YouTube, is that it's kind of it's highlighting it, but then let's try the other one. So you see what it's doing with highlight, but instead what we're going to say is to filter. Oh, this has changed too. Ah, so you see the difference here, folks on YouTube, right? The earlier was highlighting, which I think filter is going to be better. So now you click on this,
No, I like that a
and the
lot
rest of
better.
the stuff, yeah, right? I mean, it's
I like that a
so
lot
yeah. So
better.
now it's just filtered, and yep. So you're only seeing this company. So of course, in with real data, he would probably have a good name here. This is all randomized, but company 006, you click that, and you only see jobs for that. So that's the only tweak that I would make. And if it's important, then you might want to make it the other way around too. Like when somebody selects group 33, then you can also say that, oh, don't highlight that, filter the other ones. And of course, with this guy as well. If that's important, I don't know, right? So you can say, yeah, filter those two. And that way, all of them, probably that
It
will be a
definitely is.
good
I
idea.
love this
Yeah,
feedback.
good idea to do that because now they work consistently. Now somebody selects job 136 and, just selects, yep, that's from this company, this group, and so forth. And so it's pretty consistent. You can say, oh, what about group 38? And then it just selects company on the side, so only one company, and then within group 30, and they have these jobs. So, but boy, I mean, this is so much better than setting up a drill down and saying, yeah, right click and whatever, or click these buttons. What does this up arrow do? And oh God, I can't remember, right? I mean, I can't even blame my users. All those four things that show up, like, which one is which? Anyway, all right, so pretty cool. And by the way, this is, man, full points for the layout. So, folks, in the Power Pattern, I talk about the layout is really simple. I start with high-level numbers at the top, and then some breakdown, some trends, and then a little bit of detail. And look at this balance. And folks, for those who are moving over from Excel, I've seen some people move over from Excel and they can't help themselves. They build Power BI, but they end up with sheets filled with tables and matrices and tables and matrices. They're like, "What am I doing, Avi? Help me!" And trust me, it's not that hard. Just follow the Power Pattern, right? And again, go watch the video on YouTube or inside my course in the visualization section. Watch how I build the Power Pattern. It's really simple. Uses simple elements, high-level data at the top, some trends, some breakdowns, and a little bit of detail, and it looks so much better than what Excel users intuitively end up doing, which is just a bunch of tables, right? So yeah, I mean, just this is awesome. So I love it. Detail up top, breakdown here in the tree map, breakdown here and here, and the detail, which is awesome, right? Because now you can click on group and see exactly what's going on and whatever metrics you want to show. So that is brilliant, boy. That is really good stuff. Oh God, I had another thought. So of course, when I was thinking about my Power Pattern, I was thinking, so I do high-level numbers, breakdown, trends, and a little bit of detail. So trends is not here, but then again, I mean, there's no right or wrong. They're just kind of rules. But in general, that's one thing. With Jeff, maybe you have it on other sheets, or you have considered
No,
it.
that's phase two. I really want to
Yeah,
do
there
trend
you go. Bingo. Yeah.
phase
So you're already
two.
thinking about it. Yep. So,
I'm
hey, man.
agile.
Yeah. Because, so folks, if you think about it, man, I mean, it's, guys, this stuff is simple, right? So, as I said, Power Pattern, put up the high level numbers at the top, give some breakdown, right? And then give it a trend and give it a little bit of detail. And these things together, just these simple elements, they work so beautifully because you have that detail table right here. But the beauty of that is, frankly, imagine if you all you gave them was a table, and that again, that's what sometimes Excel users end up doing. Man, nobody can kind of read that. They can't make sense of it. It's just data, and who cares about data? Those quotes that data everywhere, not a drop to drink. It's kind of like that. It's just, yeah, you can't. And even the folks who do. So I work with finance folks. I'm like, oh, Avi, just give it to me in a table. And I know what they're doing. As soon as I give them to a table, they say, cool, Avi, how do I export it to Excel? And I'm like, oh my God, that's the whole thing we're trying to avoid, right? But with this whole thing, it works so beautifully because you can click and kind of slice and dice, and so trend adds to the power of it. And I was trying to, I'll okay, there we go. I'll try to bring up my model, which I use in the dashboard visualization, and just show you how it works. Awesome. So this is really good, and of course, yeah. So I think trend in general, it's incredibly powerful because you can see that, oh, this is how things are maybe right now in a given time frame, but then you can see trend over time, maybe have some comparison measures, right? So it's, oh, show me a rolling 6 months, and then that compares that to the previous 6 months or something like that. There's so much you can do. But again, baby steps. So Jeff, hey, man, I'll be excited to see you phase two. So whenever that's kind of in a working state, I would love to have you come back and share that with us.
Well, thanks. This has been really helpful and really fun. So I appreciate it.
Yep, I think you all enjoyed it, folks. give a hoot hoot, give a yeah something. Show some love for Jeff Anderson if you liked his, and it's pretty cool. That's it's his first story, so that's what it's all about. All right, folks. So let's see if we have any other presenters from our student group. So we have quite a few of you on the line. Do we have somebody who had submitted a dashboard, maybe? Okay, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not seeing any messages or nobody speaking up. So cool. So we get to switch over to the YouTube crowd. So let me see. So folks, this is where I'm usually a little more prepared, but we're gonna do this a bit on the fly. Learn Power BI. That one is there. Cool. All right, folks. So on YouTube, if you submitted your dashboard through this site, sorry, not this site, the dashboard showcase and makeover site. If you submitted an entry, then just type it in the chat window, and we'll check that. So OPS, ops. I don't know. I don't know if it's acronym or you work in operations. So I got it. So and Abdul Rahman. Okay, so I got two. Let me see if I can find you. Let's go over here. Oh, shoot. No. Continue in browser. Oh yeah, Abdul Rahman, I found you. And OPS is an acronym. Obed Palestino Soto. So I found you too. Awesome. Let me see if anybody else chimed in. Okay, so far, folks, I only heard from OPS and Abdul Rahman. Okay. Got it. Bleh. Oh, come on. So let's go with the OPS. And I'm going to download your dashboard. Oh, it's the screenshots. Nice. Oh, really nice. Whoa. Thank you, my friend. So OPS, I should Obed, do you go with that? Is it okay to call you Obed? Hopefully it is. Let me know if it's not. And what I'm gonna do is how do I save all of these? Maybe in a Word document. Huh. Why is it so hard? Okay, got it. All right, folks, so let's go here, and we're gonna say May 8th dashboard showcase. And well, maybe it was 0915. We started with Jeff Anderson, and I'll say 0947 OPS. Okay, and oops. All right, so OPS, let me know if I hope I have the right dashboard. Sometimes people send us multiple emails. All right, cool. So I have that lined up. And let me just check the comments. Okay, Obed. Did I get the name right? Obed. Okay. All right. So, and this seems to be around coronavirus, COVID-19. Wow, really extensive. I'm really impressed, mate. So let's come back here and we'll say mm, COVID 19. So folks, of course, sometimes we dive into the data set, and of course, but sometimes I just look at it just from a visual perspective, and either is fine. Doesn't really matter. Hopefully, you will get value either way. So first of all, if first comes a celebration, my friends, right? Because again, doing something like this, we were talking earlier how action is simply what differentiates, frankly, folks. They rise to a different level. There are people who sit in the stands, and that's okay. I'm not going to judge you, right? But the fact is that if you go to a game, or if you think about the old gladiator era, then most people were in the stands. So most people, yeah, they look at these people performing, but there are only few who don the armor and step into the arena, right? And it's scary, but as our friend Grace Teo says, courage is not the absence of fear. Awesome, right? Yeah. I mean, I think if you really hear the tales of courageous people, and I'm putting that in quotes, right? Then yeah, they'd say, yeah, I was scared to death, right? I mean, I was really scared, my knees were shaking, but they went up and did it, right? So courage is not the absence of fear; it's taking action in spite of that fear. So yeah, so kudos to Obed for creating this dashboard first of all, putting that effort, and then telling a story. So again, folks, I believe in it. It's your choice whether to, I mean, people get so obsessed with kind of hard work, and the other thing they're obsessed with is learning more, and they think that that's the way to success, that's the way to salvation. That's all I need to do. I need to get smarter, and I need to work hard. The hallways of Microsoft were littered with people who spent their whole lifetimes doing that but didn't get anywhere. I was one of them. I was one of them. And can you get lucky? And yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah. But you know what? I don't want to ride on luck. That's not how I want to create my life. I want to create my life on my own terms. I want to be the CEO of my life. Is that how you operate? If that's how you operate, then you would realize that in this day and age, just doing good work is not enough. It's like if a tree falls in a forest, does anybody hear? If you do good work, but you don't tell others about it, does it matter? It doesn't matter. That's the truth. You got to do good work, tell great stories. So, Obed, kudos, mate. You stepped up, sent this in. Amazing. Awesome. All right. So, first of all, man, what do I say? I mean, this is clearly kind of pretty extensive. So, Ben, I'm really curious. I mean, this doesn't really look like a side project. It looks like did you build this for a local organization, for the government, some entity in the government? Because this is, man, beyond impressive. This is just the volume of this is really incredible. So I'm pretty impressed with. So I know we don't have you on the phone like our students, but I would love to hear a little more of your story behind that. So I'm going to check in the comments a little bit, but let me move forward. So I think this is really awesome, and this is set out a little bit differently. I feel than a typical operational report. So guys, I'm kind of a boring kind of guy. That's why I do operational reports. So this is not generally storytelling. This is just a business entity. It could be sales, marketing, finance, operations, all of that. Just trying to do their jobs, trying to get through their day. And what do they need? And can they look at something in operational report and go, that needs my attention, da da da, something like that, right? So that's my bread and butter. So in this one, maybe it's slightly different because certainly the first slide in an operational report, actually maybe I would set it up this way. So, but I love it though. So I love it. It's kind of high, big, bold numbers, and gives you high level data. Now, I'm not sure if the report has this built in. So, of course, I have screenshots, not an interactive PBIX. But it would be awesome if users could click this and that would take them to the other report. Maybe it is built in. If not built in, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. So I love that. I love the big bold numbers up there. Man, there's something about that. And for one, it exudes confidence. For one, to put those numbers that big, you have to have an understanding of the data set. And so that is really good. I like that, and it's structured. It's kind of a hierarchical. So I think Sonora is kind of a smallest unit, then Mexico, and then I think this is the world. Yep, Mundo is the world, and that gives them context that how it is doing and so forth. So mortality rate. Oh man, this is. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed just by this first screen. This is really awesome. And there are small touches in here. So, interesting. So I think I see that there are buttons up top. And there's also a hint about, kind of the orientation. That's good. I like that. It's a good first screen. And then there's some notes here, and that's okay. And some of the links and stuff at the bottom. So it's a good start here. And then this, what I would call, is kind of the first page of the real dashboard, if you will. Oh God, that is just one big image. That's okay. So we're gonna focus on this one. And okay, so let's do the same steps we did with Jeff. First impression, it looks good. It looks good. I mean, the colors are kind of coordinated. So the first impression isn't like, like, oh, what is that? Right? I mean, I have seen dashboards like that. I'm sure I built stuff like that too. So first impression is pretty good. Let's do the squint test. And man, I would say squint test is a little tough because I'm not seeing something pop out at me. And maybe, so I know Obed is trying to pack a lot of information in here. But yeah, it doesn't quite works for me. So I don't know, on YouTube, what do you guys think? But so when I squint my eyes, there's nothing that kind of really draws my attention. If there is anything, it's kind of this big blue blob in the middle, which of course is not doing anything. Like, I think it's a tree map, but of course tree map with a single element isn't really useful. Now, of course, I realize this may be some kind of a drill down or a filtered scenario. In other scenario, if somebody zooms out, then they would see other entities in the tree map. But at least on this graph, it's not really working. So the squint test is important because, as we saw with Jeff's graph, if we go back there, and of course I did manage to bring up my power pattern, right? So if you do the squint test, well, actually this one isn't that great either, but maybe I could highlight these numbers more. But my idea was to have people pay attention to this first, but the graph elements are pretty bold in here too. But in general, people do scan this way. So that's the idea. So, and in here, this was very clear. Like, this stuff was important. Tree map was a close second, right? So that's what the squint test does, is that, hey, is there a center of focus, a center of gravity for a visual center of gravity? Man, that's poetry. That's good. I'll write it down. Visual center of gravity. You guys, you can tweet that. Just credit me. So that's what the squint test does. And you've heard me say this before. The key thing is, I had one of those managers who would hand out tasks to everybody. He's like, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do this. And obviously, there would always be a long list of tasks. And you would ask him that, can we prioritize it? Like, you just handed out 12 different tasks to me. Like, and they're all P0. And of course, the challenge is when everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority, right? So that is true in business, that is true in your own life, and that is true in visual design as well. So this visual design is like a symphony, right? It's like kind of a guided tour. So you want to you want to have them this tour experience, kind of walking through a museum. You know how you walk in a museum, it's very structured. I mean, they have these red ropes once in a while to kind of guide you, arrows on the floor, or whatever. Go to IKEA. Like, everything is designed for a specific experience. IKEA actually is a great example. Yes, I think that's better than a museum tour. I think maybe more people in the world now have uh, gone to IKEA than maybe taken a museum. I don't know. I don't know. Museum. Okay. So right. So yeah, you want to have that kind of experience, and and yeah, so you have that in two ways. One is having a center of gravity, right? Having that focus, which in my case, I was trying to make this one, but I realized that actually this is not that bold. Maybe I'll change the color a bit more. Let me go back and fill, and I'll reduce. Maybe if I change it to 50%. Oh shoot. Well, that. Wait, what is going on? Oh, there we go. Yeah, maybe it is a bit more. So a center of focus, and then of course the layout follows the way we scan things anyway, and that is built in. You can't really change that. You can't choose to say, oh, well, my dashboard, you need to scan it this way. It's not going to work, because we don't work that way, right? I mean, our brains don't work that way, because guess what? Because this is how we read. So of course the only exception would be if you're working with somebody where their language is maybe Arabic or something, which is scanned in a different way, which is scanned right to left. Then you would structure your dashboard right to left, right? But otherwise, English speaking and generally other languages which are written this way, then this is how we scan, right? All right. So I think this maybe could use a few tweaks there. Yeah, center of gravity, and then maybe we can consider the layout. So let's dive in there. So let's get in a bit deeper. So of course another concept that we've talked about is pixel economy, and that's not my term. That's Stephen Few's term, pixel economy. And what that says is that basically there are two kinds of pixel. There is data pixel and non-data pixel, right? So data pixel is something that's conveying data. Not non-data pixel is everything else: borders, fill colors, axis lines. This is a whole bunch of stuff we do, right, which is non-data. And your goal is to make your data shine. Your data is the hero, so you want to cast a spotlight on that firmly. Oops. Right? And so to maximize and highlight that, and non-data pixel, you either eliminate or you de-emphasize. And you can de-emphasize by making, if there's a line or a border, make it thinner, make it really thin, make it a light shade of gray or something like that, right? So eliminate it. That's your first goal. If you can't eliminate it, like, no, I really need that border, then you minimize it. So here, I think one challenge that's happening is that so notice here, the top was this light gray, and by the way, it is using prime real estate, right? So again, I mean, think of this as like really construction, like real estate, right? I mean, imagine you're a real estate developer and you own a piece of real estate in New York. That's how you should be building your dashboards. And so you own a piece of, this is a piece of land in New York, and of course not all areas are of equal value, right? I mean, this is prime real estate. Maybe that's the heart of downtown, and then the value kind of goes down from here, right? This stuff is the least important, right? So your real estate developers, you have to place some things very strategically. So in this case, the top portion, which is valuable real estate, has, well, not being used to show data, and that's okay. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's just choices you make, and do you understand the consequences, folks? The key thing here is that, are you acting like this? Is it dashboard by design or dashboard by accident, right? And the thing is that, hey, I didn't know that there was a field of knowledge like visualization design. I had no idea. I never heard of Stephen Few, so of course all my dashboards were by accident. So I would just put something up and say, that kind of looks good. I'll ask a few friends, like, yeah, man, that looks good, right? So that's dashboard by accident. And I'm not saying they can't look good. They can look good. But dashboard by design goes to a whole different level. So now you read Stephen Few's book or go through my course and read my version of it, right, and so forth. But now you have those visualization design principles in place. So now you operate based on that. So if you're operating based on that, I'm not saying you never should put it there, but what's going to happen is you're going to say, Avi, that's by design. I realize that that is prime real estate, but I also know that people through web pages and stuff, they're used to having navigation up top, right? We all use web pages. So I made a decision to put it there. So again, there's a world of a difference between that and dashboard by accident, right? So is it a conscious choice or is it not? Is that, I don't know, I just put it there, right? So that's the key difference. So here, even though it uses the prime real estate at the top, but I would say is that look at the color. It's this light gray. It's not taking things over, right? Wouldn't you agree, right? I mean, here it's just kind of kind of blends away because the background is also shade of gray and so forth, right? So I think it works. Now compare that with this one. So again, non-data pixel. So if you just imagine you were the data pixel police. Well, that's a good one. Tweet that too. So data, maybe pixel police, right? So imagine you're the pixel police, right? And so for a second, just forget about everything else that you are, your goal, who are you designing the dashboard for? Just put all of that aside. So now put on the hat of the pixel police. You're the pixel police, and you don't know anything else. All you know is data pixel, non-data pixel, and your job is to kind of emphasize the data pixel, minimize the non-data pixel, right? So let's put on the pixel police hat for a while. So pixel police comes in, and first thing I see is this fill color. That fill color is not data. Not data, non-data pixel. Again, hey, I'm just the pixel police, right? Don't burn the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. Something like that, right? So pixel police says, non-data. Eliminate or de-emphasize. Can we eliminate it? Do we really need it? Man, oftentimes you don't. So oftentimes when people use a fill color, you can use something else. You can use, and of course we've talked about this too, what's the most valuable element of dashboard design? And I'm gonna wait for folks on YouTube or here to give me the answer. So I'll come back to that, right? So you can if you want to have a header, you can try different things. You can try a line here, right? So remove the fill color and just try not this big thick line, just try the most subtle line that still works, that separates the two sections. But there's something even more powerful than line, which you may be able to use, right? So I'll wait for you guys to chime in and tell me what is the most important element of visualization design. What is the thing you really need to master? What is the one element? Okay, so again, back to Pixel Police. So Pixel Police says, blue color, fill, that's not data, right? So de-emphasize that. And then, so again, right now we're just doing Pixel Police. We don't even know what this dashboard is, what it's trying to do. We have no idea, right? So Pixel Police says fill color, non-data, fill color, non-data, border, non-data, fill color, non-data, right? Stuff like that, it's a border, non-data, right? So yeah, and again, no right or wrong. It's just choices. But are you making a conscious choice, or did you just cross your fingers like, that looks good, right? So that's the difference between visualization by design. That's going to propel you to the clouds, right? I mean, you're going to be head and shoulders above the rest of the crowd designing dashboards versus, I just put it together and it's a dashboard by accident. So I would look at that. And I think that would help a little bit. So again, once you take maybe the heavy blue away, maybe lighten it, remove it if possible, then I think there's a chance to have the important stuff shine. And just from the size of the element, I would say that this is important, but right now it's not shining that bright. Imagine if this stuff was not background in blue, right? So remove that stuff, and if this was background in blue and with white text, bam, it would like pop out at you like nothing, like well, yeah, it'll really pop out at you and grab your attention. So you're asking the user, you're commanding their attention that, hey, look at me first. That's dashboard by design. You say, hey, start here, start here, start here, start here, right? Okay, cool. So we'll kind of let that go. Let's see if anybody got it right on what is the most important element of visualization design. Wow. So Srividya, I would say, yeah. I mean, she is right. So use your space. So I say, so Srividya. Let me see if I get it right. Srividya. I would say she's spot on. I say it slightly differently, and think of it slightly differently, but it's essentially white space. That's the most powerful element, the blanks. And folks, there's this quote which I love, and tell me if you love it too. Music is the space between the notes. Oh my God, that is just so incredible. Music is the space between the notes. And you know what? I mean, so I'm not a musician, but I do public speaking, and I've been part of Toastmasters. And they would talk about the power of pause in public speaking, where you say something and you just pause. And if you use that correctly, it can work so well. And a lot of powerful speakers you see, man, go back and listen to the speeches and notice how they're using the power of pause. And brilliant speakers use it brilliantly, right? So music is the space between the notes. Power of the pause for public speakers. What's the equivalent in dashboard design? It's a white space. So white space is incredibly powerful. So a lot of times, if you only have to do is not even a line, just leave some space between this and the next stuff. And of course, so Obed is already doing it. And so again, I mean, look at this. So this, how clean this white space gap is. And that is actually going to work in favor of Obed, because I would bet that if Obed tries to remove the border or even eliminate it, it may still work. And again, you have to try it just to see if it works, because he's been so consistent with this white space gapping, right? So white space can do that. All right, cool. So let's move on to the next step, which is the scanning. So again, generally we scan this way. Now I realize that this dashboard is not laid out in this manner. I mean, you can see it, right? I mean, how is it laid out? I mean, you look at the dashboard and it's very clear that it's laid out to be scanned like this. And again, folks, no right or wrong answers. I'm not saying, bad or bad, right? I mean, fix it. No, there's no right or wrong. Is it a conscious choice or is it an accident? Dashboard by design or dashboard by accident? And hey, we live in the real world, right? So, if Obed went out and said, you know what, I got to fit all these elements, man, I can't figure it out. Or I tried the other way. I tried laying them out like this and it didn't work. Or I tried both and I like this one better. So often what I do is I would duplicate the sheet and try out two different elements and take a screenshot and look at them side by side, right? And then say, hey, which one is working for my purpose, right? So again, if it's a conscious choice, it's great. So the layout in here is clearly you scan this way and then scan this way and then scan this way. And if the conscious choice, that's great. I mean, a structured layout is still better than no layout, right? Where things are just kind of randomly here and things don't align and all that stuff. So man, I mean, kudos to you. I mean, look at this beautiful alignment, right? I mean, even though this thing has two, this side has two elements and this side has three, but man, it's brilliantly done. So Obed, man, full marks for that. I mean, this is just beautiful, and you can see it looks beautiful, right? It looks beautiful and clean, lined up. So our brain looks for these symmetry and connections. Trust me, if you have like 5 elements there and one of them is slightly off, try it, right? For a dashboard, it almost is like a mental sandpaper, right? I mean, it's gonna, like, why is that off? Now, of course, sometimes you can use that intentionally to grab attention, but in here, certainly kind of lining it up. So I think this has a layout, which is awesome. It's just not the typical layout, which is this is the way we scan, but that may be okay. All right, so yeah, man. I mean, again, kind of beautiful dashboard, lots going on. Let's look at the specific elements. So again, we look at the power pattern, which is high-level data, breakdown, and trends. So we definitely have the high-level data, and again, we talked about how you can pop it a little more. And this feels detail. Usually, in my mind, the detail comes last, right? So you notice here in the power pattern, the detail comes way here, and Jeff Anderson had the same approach where detail comes last. Because if you think about how quickly do we perceive visual versus like text input, it's miles apart, right? Wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's just obvious. You don't even have to read Stephen Few. So this one, we take it right away. We're like, yep, command, we get that as a bar chart, column chart. For the text stuff, man, we have to read. And yeah, I mean, it comparatively, this takes a lot more time to process mentally than any visual like this, right? So usually detail is shown last, right? So you get the high level numbers right up, like, yep, I see it, yep. And then you see kind of the breakdown, which you can also absorb pretty quickly because it's all visual. Like you see the breakdown, trends, and all of this you can quickly absorb. And then you dive in and say, okay, cool, now show me the detail. Now I'm ready for it, right? And of course, it works great with cross-filtering, which say, oh, cool, now I can say, click on United States, and now I'm seeing the detail just for United States and something like that, right? So that's a little bit, so that's counter to what's typically done. But again, no right or wrong. It's whatever works best, right? But generally it is. But there's all the elements of power pattern are certainly there. So there is the high level number. There are breakdowns here. Well, that's a trend, right? So breakdown and trends. This is a breakdown, and then we have detail, right? So all of the power elements are certainly there. So kudos on that. I mean, that's it's got good bones. And how you structure it? Well, I mean, this is a good structure. Yeah, I mean, this is a good structure, right? So for that, with all the elements. Can you try it with the slightly different ones? I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe you can try it and just see if it works. Otherwise, this is pretty good. So high level number, breakdown, trends, and then the detail with the number here. Yeah, I mean, I would certainly experiment with it. I would try to put the table kind of over here. Maybe move this trend up top. So trend goes here, then the table gets moved here, and then lay out, maybe the map goes here or something like that. So yeah, just try it out, see if it works. And of course, you can also, if you haven't tried it out already, try to see if you can lay out the elements in this order, because generally that's the way we scan. And again, you just try a few different things, and then you make a conscious decision. Doesn't matter, right? I mean, it's not right or wrong. If it's a conscious decision, you're creating a dashboard by design. Otherwise, you're not. All right, man, good stuff. Anything else that I see here? So I have to call it out, guys. Stephen Few fan, can't help it. Pie charts, I don't know. Try a bar chart. And again, Stephen Few talks about why pie charts are not great, right? So the visual has two goals, two things we're focused on. One, it needs to communicate information effectively. And two, it needs to use space effectively, right? So if you have two visuals, they both communicate the same information equally well, but one takes up more space, the other can be more compact, can take less space, then that visual wins. And pie charts are pretty bad in this, actually. They're not even that effective. Humans, and the challenge is that we don't even understand how bad we are at reading pie charts. So, I think there have been studies where they would show people a pie chart and they would say, how big is that slice? Tell me a percentage. And people would guess, that's 47%, right? And then they would say, how confident are you that you're right? And you say, about 80% right. And so not only do we get it wrong, but we are overconfident about it. That's what they found in the studies, right? And of course, that can be a deadly combination, because you can read a pie chart, think that you got it, but you got it wrong, right? So, and you may not realize, right? So it's not very effective visual, and it's not very compact in space either. So again, hey, I'm going to get off my soapbox, but I would just say, I have used pie charts in dashboards I've built. Just try it, and then I don't know if your client, manager, CEO, boss, whatever says, "No, man, I want a pie chart." Then you give him a pie chart. What are you gonna do? All right. So, but yeah, try a bar chart, column chart, and so forth. So in this one, I would try a column chart, yeah. But hey, if you gotta do, you gotta do. So So yeah, so and what is this ring chart? Yeah, I mean it's a close cousin of pie chart. So that's that. We already talked about this element. It looks a little bit odd. I think that's a tree map, which is kind of filtered down to just one element. I'm not sure. So yeah. What else? Yeah, that is interesting. Map. So map is one of the most abused visuals where people show maps when they shouldn't be showing maps. But I think in this case, it just kind of makes sense because, of course, COVID-19, so you can kind of visually see what's going on. Trend is, yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, I would say that's good. What else? Let me see if there was any comments on. So I didn't see any comments in chat. Darren shared that my rule on pie charts is not to use them if there are 3 or more columns. Yeah. Yeah. So there's certainly one too many in pie charts. Let's see what other comments on YouTube. A map without a legend. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that. So that's interesting, folks. So notice that the map doesn't say what is being shown on the map. What do you think? Is that good or bad? Is that a no-no? Well, I think there's one reason why it is working in this case, which I actually didn't realize. So, Obed, man, awesome. I think that one is definitely intentional, which is the use of color. And I'll admit, folks, I'm awkward around colors, let's say. I'm getting better. But my daughter is helping me. She's good at art and stuff. So, yeah, my dashboards have been, yeah, sometimes I just go grayscale, 50 Shades of Gray, something like that. So, but I think in this case, the color is very intentional. So the color of this is tying with that and I think the color here in the confirmed cases is the same. So I think that's what's tying it together. It would have been more powerful if they were side by side. I think if the map was here, you definitely would not need a legend, I would say. Because it's up, confirmed cases, and boom, the map shows it in the same color. The color ties it together. So color is another one of those things where so the guideline that I've heard is that the use of color should be intentional, right? So like, yeah, I'll just shut up. I wouldn't say anything more about that. All right, so yeah, so I think if the graph was here, then you definitely wouldn't need a legend. The fact that it's kind of off to the other side across this barrier, maybe a legend would be nice. So that was a good call. And let's see. Okay, Nadeem wants me to move on. Hey, folks, I don't know. Okay. Uh, I love getting deep into this. Okay, so Obed, hopefully you found some stuff useful. Um, yeah, map making 101. So different opinions here. Yeah, so my world is saying that map without a legend is that's just don't do that stuff. Map making 101. Jonathan is saying you don't need a legend here. Cool. Oh god, yeah, donut charts. I'll say I have mixed feelings about that. I'm not sure if they're any better than pie charts. So again, if you think about how humans read it, in a pie chart, you're forced to read either the area or the angle, and we're bad at both of those. I think the donut chart makes that problem worse. So again, I mean, and folks, if you put labels on there, then it's not really a visual chart; it's a text chart, right? It might as well put a table on there. If that's what you're saying, it's like, oh yeah, my pie charts are okay because I put the labels on there. Bloody hell, well, I wouldn't say that. So, well, yeah, I mean, you see where I'm kind of driving at here. Well, then they're not really reading it visually. They're saying, oh, this big pie, that's 53%. And again, I mean, we've used pie charts, but I don't think donut chart visual science-wise, it's any better. Right? So visually, again, pie chart, the way we try to read it is either you judge the area of the pie, which we're bad at guessing, right? Or the angle, and we're equally bad at that. And I think donut chart is it's worse, right? Try guessing the area of this or the angle or something like that, and it's like, All right, so we'll take Nadim's advice and move on. But this was good stuff, folks. I really enjoyed it. Just bar graph. Yeah, so I would say definitely say if you've put a pie chart there, try a column or a bar chart, and which one you use is simple. If it is wide like this, then I would use generally use a column chart, right? And if you have an area which is kind of tall, so if you imagine if you had an area like this, then in there I would use a bar chart, right? So that's one of the guidelines. There are others around it. I cover some of them inside the course. All right, cool. So I'm just going to scan through this stuff. Interesting. So I think yeah, this is kind of cool. Really extensive dashboard. We wouldn't get into it. So another thing that I'm going to call out is, so power pattern. One strength of the power pattern is, and again, you don't have to follow this exact same pattern. What I do is I start with this pattern and then adapt based. So this would be the first version that I show to my customer, and then I would adapt it based on their feedback and needs, right? So, but one thing that I do is that often I would have multiple sheets, and I would try to structure them consistently in the same pattern, which is certainly what what Obed has done here. So right, so notice if you go from Sonora, so all of these sheets, yeah, that they're consistent. I'm actually okay, got it. He's showing the filters. Yeah, but the layout is quite consistent, right? I mean, look at this. I mean, this goes to Mexico, but the layout is similar, and we see the tree map kind of working now that we've kind of zoomed out, and yeah, boy, it looks really nice. So that, and of course, you don't have to keep it 100% exactly similar. You can see how he has tweaked some of these things around, and that's okay. You're allowed to do that. But in general, if you use the same pattern, it makes it far easier for users to go from sheet to sheet and not go, whoa, now what am I looking at, right? I mean, they know exactly, they know the layout. That's like if you have museums and if you have multiple floors, if they're all laid out the same way, then you move around to floor one, you go to floor two, you don't go like, oh, where do I go now? Well, it's the same layout, so it can be really powerful. So good stuff there. Okay, so again, hey, kudos, folks, right? I mean, do good work, tell great stories, and I think Obed here has knocked this one out of the park. This is pretty brilliant. So, Obed, you might have answered this earlier, and I missed seeing it. I was really curious that, is this a side project for you? Which, if it is, it's mind-blowing. Or are you really working with like a government organization or something and building this for them? I mean, I think either way it's phenomenal, but this is so good. My feeling is that you're probably working for somebody there. Yeah, incredible. All right, folks. So let's put a pin in this one. Oh, I almost don't want to move on. That was really good. And I think the next person that I'd heard was, let me pull up the name. So, folks, if you sent in your dashboard and you're here, let me know. And I had heard from Abdul Rahman. So, Abdul Rahman, if you're still on, give me a shout out on YouTube. Let me know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to download your PBIX file that you had sent and get started on that. But if I don't hear from you, if I hear from others, okay, so Abdul Rahman, I have your dashboard downloaded now, and what I was going to do was also save this one. There we go. Oh man. So this was Obed, O.P.S, COVID-19 dashboard. Brilliant. Okay, let me check in on the chat. What's going on? Oh, Vijay Kumar, still here. And I think Alan is saying, I found many finance people don't understand or like tree maps. Yeah, finance people don't breed. Like they like that waterfall chart. Where else have you seen a waterfall chart? Very rarely. But finance, oh my god, waterfall chart, waterfall chart, waterfall chart. They love that stuff. Um, I don't know. Uh, if you're working in finance, yeah, try not giving them a waterfall chart. Okay, I actually don't see Abdul Rahman on. We may still cover that dashboard just for fun, but so let's see, Vijay. You send in a dashboard. Oh, you did. Oh, yeah. This was okay. Oh, this is nice. Wow. All right. So folks, again, if you sent in your dashboard through the site, then let me know in the chat in here if you're a student dialed in, or on the YouTube chat box, and yeah, I'll scan it in a little bit. Okay, so we're good with that one. Let's go to Vijay's dashboard. This promises to be an exciting one. Oh, there was one thing before we move on I wanted to call out on Obed's dashboard. I think that's the cool hip thing to do now, which is the slicer panel. Seems all the cool kids are doing it now. So this is Vijay's stuff, but if you go back, so you saw this in Jeff Anderson's dashboard, and you see it here. So there's this slicer panel kind of on this side, and if you click that, it expands and it gives you kind of more of this. So yeah, I think that's I like it. If I had a choice, I would try placing it here again, the kind of the importance kind of thing. So generally stuff on the left is more important than the area on the right, and this one is not data, right? So this is important, but it's not conveying data. So if you can put it on the right, that's okay. I'm going to close this as well. So Vijay, again, first of all, kudos, mate, for donning the armor and stepping into the arena. And again, there are those who sit in the audience stands, and sometimes they judge and say, oh yeah, you should have done this right, but none of that matters. What matters is you stepped in and you're putting on a show. And guys, I'm going to say it again and again, in this day and age, you can't just do good work. If you want that breakthrough success, if you're okay with that, just good enough life, it's like, oh, it's good enough, I'm all right. Or would you want to create a great life for yourself? I think one of the keys, so I've been obsessed with studying folks who got breakthrough success in my program for the past 2 years, and of course learned from my own painful experience of things which don't work, and which is what I see a lot of people fixated on. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna learn. Oh, Avi, how can I get smarter at DAX? How can I figure this out? How can I figure that out? All of that stuff. And so I'm gonna learn more, and I'm gonna work really hard. I don't know. Maybe that worked in my dad's age. It doesn't now. Didn't in my experience, and when I looked around at a lot of other people's lives, that's not the secret to success. It's something else. So when I studied it, this is the common thing that I saw, which is that they don't just do good work, they step up. They step up and tell their freaking story. And they say, hey, this is what I did. This is why it matters. And of course, we're doing this in Dashboard Makeover. It's open to everybody, but go back the past 2 weeks, and we had those real PowerBI presentations. That's the kind of stuff which is going to move you forward towards creating a life on your own terms, right? Rather than have somebody else commandeer it. So here we have Vijay Kumar. So again, kudos for stepping up, and he's included screenshots to show a little bit how he has developed. So again, this is going to the Wikipedia, Indian movies. So we have a little bit of view of that, the URL, get data. and some graphs here. So for the graphs, we're just going to step up here in our Power BI file, and we're going to go through the same steps pretty much. So first impressions. So guys, what do you think? What are your first impressions? Kind of type that in. Just first impressions. And hey, be nice, you know. But I would say my first impression is that it looks clean. It looks nice. I like it, right? So actually, let me open one of the panes and give me some space. All right, so yeah, it looks clean and nice. And there's nothing wrong. In fact, Stephen Field generally does recommend kind of a plain white or slightly off-white background. Sometimes off-white works better than plain white. White is, sometimes a little too bright. So if you do off-white, your data kind of stands up a little more. So you can try both, but there's something about just keeping it clean. And of course, you can kind of reverse this and do dark themed dashboards. I'll admit I have never created one yet. I think it takes a little bit more skill to create dark theme dashboards, right? So, but hey, you don't feel like you have to. And again, so folks, what I'm talking about is, I'm not talking about wowing somebody. I'm not talking about kind of a storytelling where you're telling a fancy story or something like that. I'm talking about operational reports, right? This is the bread and butter. And again, I'm serving. I serve kind of folks who are on the front line of the business, right? These are sales folks. These are folks in marketing, in finance, and operations, and support, all of that. And they're on the front line. Their job is to run the business, right? My job is just to help them in that task. That's it. So they don't want to be wowed by data. Say, oh, that looks so cool. Who cares? Is it effective? And what is a dashboard? When is a dashboard effective? It's effective when you can go from data to insight, right? It's not just a bunch of things. It's like, oh, that needs my attention. I want to focus in on that. And then it maybe leads to an action. One idea, right? An actionable dashboard. Think about that, right? So that's what I focus on. And in that case, simple is great, because simple gives your data a chance to shine. If you fill it with these wow elements, data is not the star anymore, right? It's frankly kind of you. All right, so nice clean look, first impression, and let's just do the squint test. And so it's got big bold elements, which I like. Those are nice, but I think just because of the positioning, this is still the center, the visual center of gravity. So again, not all real estate is equally important, right? This stuff is the most important, this top left corner, and then the order of importance kind of goes down in this till you get to this point, which is the least important visually, right? So just by positioning, so it is big and bold, but also the way it's positioned, this one takes the center of stage, and which is awesome. So like top, big numbers. Yeah, so this there are different schools of thought about putting a title, kind of big and bold on the left. Well, that depends. I wouldn't go into that yet. I think in this one it's working. It's fine. If anything, I would try maybe minimizing the border and see if it still works. Yeah, I would try that. So again, data pixel, non-data pixel. Put the pixel police hat on and just look at every non-data pixel. So the border is definitely non-data pixel. So just say, hey, can I eliminate it? Just remove it. See how it works. And well, actually, should we try? Oh, well, yeah. So actually, I won't try it right now. But yeah, I would try that. So, but the layout is working. And then let's look at other elements. So does it have the power pattern elements? Ooh, oh, I was supposed to start the clock. Sorry. Let's call it 10:30. 10:30. So let's see, power pattern elements. So power. Oh. What happened here? Okay. So power pattern elements. So this is kind of high level data. This is breakdowns, trends, and then a little bit of detail, right? and then we can look at arrangement. How about that? So if we come in here, it does have the high level numbers up top. It does have the breakdown in a tree map in these charts, and it does have a trend. It doesn't have detail, and again, there's no right or wrong. It's like, I don't want to put detail, and that's okay, right? So yeah, that's good. So it certainly has powerful elements there, and I think they're working really well. Tree map does work well. So this is by studio. So yep, you can see that kind of the distribution. You can kind of see the big ones and so forth. So that's great. So this one is easy to understand by director. So that's the sorting order. I think it should be different. I think it should be descending, because you want to see the top ones at the top. So again, how do we visually scan? Generally, we scan this way. But if you're reading a bar chart, then of course we're going to scan top down. So we're going to look at the top element first. So I would put the top one and there. So yeah, just a minor tweak there. So yep, you can see, kind of Rajmouli, Nitesh, Rajkumar Hirani. You can see the kind of the top director. And of course, we know that Power BI has an awesome, like somebody can click on this, like, oh, I want to see Arc Media Works, and then see the other stuff, or I want to click on a director's name and then cross filter that. So here, by trying it out, I feel like you might want to do the same thing that I advised Jeff to do, which was, instead of highlighting, maybe cross filter. So let's try that. So if you go to format, edit, interaction. So again, you saw how highlight was working. It was like, it's like hard to say, like what I don't know what happened there, right? So but instead of that, if we try filter, and I don't know, maybe filter this as well. Let's just try it, see how it works. And now I'm gonna click on Arca Media Works, and I think I like that a little more, because there were so many elements that highlight. It was kind of easy to miss, like, what's going on. So boy, I mean, Arca Media Works' claim to fame is just these two movies, which I have seen. I love. I'm a fan of this. Bahubali. Anybody who's from India, I think, knows these movies. Yeah, let's click Yash Raj Films, and I was expecting that. I was expecting to have more of more movies. There have been around for a long time. So yeah, so that's the only tweak that I would change in the edit interaction. I would change it to filter instead of highlight. It's a minor one. Let's turn that off. And you may want to try that with other things as well. Like if they select a director, like notice it's just, I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, right? So you choose. So if it helps, change it to filter. Okay, so this one I got, and the trends will come back later. This one, I'm not so sure about. So folks, I want to get a poll on YouTube. What do you think about this element? So it is showing top movies, but it's showing by year, and the years are all different colors. Tell me what you think. I'm finding it a little bit challenging, a little bit overwhelming. Maybe if these were fewer colors, fewer, items, but there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 elements there, which is a bit too many. Maybe 5 would work, but I'm struggling with that. Another minor thing is that the year, why isn't it sorted like chronologically, right? 2009 and 2013, that definitely should be fixed. That should be fixed. Why is that not? I have no idea. Why is it showing it in that manner? Oh wait, sorry. I apologize. It is chronological. What am I thinking? Okay, got it. Okay, I was just tripped up because there's some years missing, but this is top 25 movies across different years. But yeah, I feel this one isn't working for me that well. What you could try, and again, I don't know if it'll work with 9 elements. It would have worked with 5. Is that, imagine if these years were just shades of gray. Hey, I love shades of gray. All right, I talked about it. I'm a little bit color challenged, so yeah, I put everything shades of gray. But hey, Stephen Few likes them too, so I'm not alone in there. So imagine if there were shades of gray, and the older year were lighter shades of gray, right? So 2009 was just like a little light gray, and then as you progressed, it became darker and darker and darker and darker, right? And and I think that could work. That could work where you could scan now instead of these like like all these colors which I have to go back and forth again and like, oh, what is this color? Oh, that's 2014. You can get a general sense of that. Oh, these are the older movies and these are the new ones, right? The new ones are going to be like bright dark. Actually, man, that might be worth trying it out just for the sake of it. So let me see what you guys thought about the color. So I would add a year filter along with top 5N and bottom 5N. I'm not sure about the top and bottom five because this is like top 25 movies, so they're not that many to begin with. I don't know how much we get by showing a top five. Right? I mean, the whole list of movies is just 25 long, but year filter kind of makes sense. So that was Jonathan. Um, Yeah, but so Jonathan is saying, I think they want to see the years to compare the years, but you're not really comparing the years, are you? Right? What can you tell me? Like, can you look at this graph? So forget about this one for now, but can you tell me like, um, um, I don't know, like which year has most movies? It's kind of hard, isn't it? I mean, it's almost like reading a table. Um, I mean, so if you really just want to show years, then this is great. And I think USD millions INR crores. Um, I wouldn't show it this way because usually if you have like a column chart and if you what is this one called? This one is called clustered. Those different clusters represent different things. Like imagine if this was like English and non-English movies, right? That would make sense. But you're essentially showing the same number in different USD millions or INR crores. I would probably use bookmarks and make that a toggle. Mm, yeah, blah. Actually, let me come back to that later. But for now, let's for this one, let's remove INR for now. Let's look at USD. So I think this one is powerful, right? I mean, this one just says that yep, what was the number, and then maybe you can do like a count. Man, this is an interesting data set. I think this one, and again, guys, I don't know all the answers, right? I'm just here exploring it with you as we speak. So revenue I can understand, right? But then there's inflation as well. I don't know if it's inflation adjusted or not. That could be a big deal. If it is inflation adjusted, then at least it's apples to apples. If it is not inflation adjusted, then I would also want to see kind of the counts. Oh well. But it is top 25 Indian movies by revenue. Man, data is fun, right? Data is really fun. So I think that's a key question there. I think that would change a lot of things. Is it inflation adjusted or not? For now, let's just say it is inflation adjusted, right? So if it is inflation adjusted, then the movie are there. I would also let's just do this thing. So let's man, I'm having fun with this one. So if we go here, and I'm just gonna get rid of this one for now, if it listens to me, and we're gonna keep this guy, and we're gonna duplicate that for now, and in here we're gonna do a movie count. All right, now so let's look at this one. So focus on kind of this, and again the top 25. So right, so folks, just think about this, right? So this is something that I teach inside my course, where I talk about when do you use column charts, when do you use bar chart, and one thing that I say is that column charts can be very effective if you lay things on top of each other, right? Stack them, and you want people to visually compare. Like visually, you want them to scan back and forth between these two visuals, comparing it, right? And of course, if they're not stacked, if they're side by side, so if they're side by side, then a bar chart works better if you want them to go back and forth and visually compare, right? So in this case, what do you notice? So let's can I zoom in a little bit here? What is that you notice comparing these two graphs? I'm just going to pause here. Let it sink in. What do you notice? And this is what I noticed. I noticed this guy, right? This guy is off. You notice that, right? I mean, and we can just almost instinctively see that. Like, oh, there's something off about this. You don't have to think about it. You just notice it right away, and then you think about it. That's the power of visuals. It's amazing, isn't it? So you say, whoa, right, this is off. And now when you think about it, what is the conclusion you draw? You say, man, we don't have that many movies, right? The count in this year is low, but boy, the revenue isn't low. So that means we had movies in this year which were successful. Even, I mean, they're relatively a lot more successful than other movies. All right, now, hey, let's see. So of course now I'm curious. I'm like, what happened? Which two movies? So 2016, they were big. I mean, they did big business. There are not that many big movies. So let's see which ones they were. And this was Dangal and Sultan. Obviously. So number one movie was in that year. The number one out of this top 25 was in that year, and it dominates, and it causes this almost kind of this anomaly in the graphs here. In these two graphs, you say that, boy, I mean, not that many movies, but revenue was like top, right? So that's the power of visualization. That was pretty cool. Can you do this using a combo chart? I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I was tempted, but let's just try it. And if I say cluster combo, and then on the line values, I put count of films. Well, it's maybe, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you can kind of get it. I don't know. I like the side by side thing. All right, cool. So again, no right or wrong. Just experiment. See, and you are the curator. You're the designer. You're creating a dashboard by design. What experience you want them to have? How do you want them to tour this visual museum, right? I mean, what conclusions you want them to draw, what comparisons you want them to make. It's all about that. So cool. So that was a bit of fun by year. I still feel that this does seem a little too much. Like the color is overwhelming. So maybe shades of gray would work. Actually, I don't think so. I think 9 values is a little bit too much. So I think maybe there's a different way. This could be good homework, guys. So, folks, I'm going to think about this. Top 25, if you want to... Yeah. I think, yeah, it's... So, let me see what other folks said. I mean, did they like this graph or not? Yeah, so Sri Vidya was saying was Axis having years. I mean, that one is a simple graph. That does work. But, so again, I mean, so Grace Teo, by the way, we're probably going to have her come on our channel and speak about it. So, folks, she's been on a channel, and she's a member of our Pro Plus group, the program where we are helping them become successful Power BI consultants. So Grace Teo has this site, light.lab, and she teaches pretty much everything around Power BI, even the Excel side of things, PowerBIPro and so forth. But she's exceptionally good in visualization. That's Grace, by the way. And yeah, she has been on a channel. And she talks really well about this, where she says that, like, what's the intent? She goes deeper. So she starts at a higher level than I do, right? I dive into visualization, like, oh, the layout and all this stuff. She says, no. Like, what is the intent? Like, let's take a step back. So, yeah, so I think, yeah, we'll probably have her on the channel. Maybe, we're going to go host a session. That'll be cool. All right, remind me. Okay, so I wonder what Grace would say. What's the other way? So we want to see the top 25 movies. Hey guys, if you just humor me for a second, I'm just gonna do the shades of gray thing and see how that works. All right. So let's do 229 a custom color, and let's do it. Gosh, 111111. Is that gray? Oh shoot, that's too dark. I actually don't know how to do shades of gray. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, got it. So let's try to 2020. We're gonna make it black. That's easy. 2019. We're gonna make it. Oops. Custom color and 111111. Oh shoot, that didn't work. Did that work? Okay, I think I should quit. Okay, maybe I'll try that offline. But maybe this is something which can use a different visual as well. I don't know. All right, cool. So, hey, good stuff here. Genre your details showing. Michael had some good suggestions, like genre would be interesting. That would be a really, really cool breakdown. I would love that. Oh, there are more tabs, so maybe we'll look at them. Yeah, it has to be a way to display year in that visual. Yeah, okay, we'll see. That's homework for me. Why are all these schemes you're discussing being made default in BI as templates? Oh, why aren't? Well, there is one guy who has done brilliant work when it comes to templates and stuff in the Power BI team. So they're working on it. I think we're gonna see it eventually. They're gonna have kind of templates and stuff. Yeah. All right, cool. So folks, let's quickly look through the other stuff. And okay, director movies, scatter chart. Okay, that was mine. I'll say this is certainly the highlight. This is where it seems Vijay has spent most time. Director movies, I would call it a work in progress because I wouldn't. Yeah, it's just. From here, splash screen is I think over here, and then the next sheet kind of takes a dive. So I'll call it work in progress, not judge that. Scatter chart. So yeah, so these are, I would say these are just things that Vijay is kind of trying it out, and just see how things go. And this one is not working. This is definitely not working because I think it needs to be cumulative, and it is not. So folks, this I actually covered this in my recent video. Did I? Oh, I hope I did. I think I did. Which was the coronavirus style graph, which is kind of this animated charts. And that was here, this one. So check that out. So Vijay, I would definitely say that's one tweak you need to make, is that this needs to be kind of cumulative. And I think by year, so yeah, so and the breakdown by movie, yeah, I don't think this one is working. It's just like, what's the story? It's too confusing. It's like, I don't really understand how to kind of read this graph, right? So so it has to be something else. Maybe it could be by genre. So you could say, and if you've seen the old demos, so Power BI team loved showing the scatter chart with the play axis, and of course it's being used in probably the most famous data talk ever by Hans Rosling. I mean, I think it's titled like that. It's like the best stats you've ever seen. It's brilliant. Hans Rosling passed on, but man, left such an incredible legacy. I believe his son carries it on. So that one is brilliant. But I would say that, hey, use it with caution, because so this is good for storytelling, and you can see that in Hans Rosling talk. He uses it brilliantly to tell a story, but it's not as effective for operational reports. Remember, we talked about the troops on the front line, sales, marketing, finance, operations, support. They're trying to do the work, and these play axis scatter chart for day-to-day kind of operational reports, they don't work well. They can be a great storytelling tool, though. So I would change it maybe by genre. So what I was saying was Power BI team, Amir Nets, did something similar for US movies, and he showed genre. And I think sci-fi kind of came back from behind in something. And of course, the movie that was responsible for that comeback was Avatar, right? So that was a story there. And man, if you go watch that, that was a brilliant showcase of storytelling using this stuff by Amir Nets, who's a great storyteller, right? So not by movie, maybe by genre, or maybe by this one, the studio, or something like that. Something which doesn't have that many elements. Studio is frankly a bit too many, so genre I think would be better because there wouldn't be that many bubbles. You can trace the story. So by genre, and the next thing you would need is to make it cumulative, and which I definitely cover in the new video, which I lost, which was, yeah. So, by the way, folks, people always ask me, "Hey, Avi, can I watch a replay of this?" Yeah. Just go to the videos tab, and you have the replays for all the live shows. Of course, you have the videos I publish as well. So look at this one if you're interested in doing graphs like that, or scatter charts. Okay, cool. Can we convert it? Oh boy. Wow, Nadeem, you have an interesting question. And maybe have data labels on the scatter, possibly. Yeah, that could help. So Nadeem is asking, can we convert a dashboard by voice input for accessibility? I'm not sure. I know Power BI team has done a lot of work to improve accessibility. Like they've added like, themes. I think there is a colorblind friendly theme. They added a whole ton of keyboard support and things, but I'm not sure about voice input. Yeah. I'm not sure about that. So, folks, let me just show you. So what we had done was, when I created this video for YouTube, so this is a 12-minute video, but I actually recorded an 1 hour and 12 minutes of video for our program. And let me just show that to you. So this is a bit advanced, so we didn't put it in our main course. This is in the advanced Power BI section. By the way, the folks, what we have in training so far is this. So if you go to training, we have the Learn Power BI, which is the main course, which is a great spot for folks who are either getting started or keep getting stuck in Power BI. And trust me, we get people who have been around Power BI and been using it for many years, and they come join the course and say, oh my God, I should have done it on day one, right? I mean, because I was just kind of struggling and floundering for 2 years, not really getting anywhere. So if you're getting started or keep getting stuck, that's the main course. And the intent of the main course is simple. It's to give you that 20% core concepts that gives you 80% of the results. Simple, 80-20. 20% core concepts, which gives you 80% of the results. And what I've seen is that's what's hardest to get through the jigsaw puzzle of YouTube and Google, right? So it's just impossible to piece it together. It's frustrating. I would rather give it to you in kind of a structured course through a program which has support and all that sort of stuff, right? So that's our main program. But then, of course, for those who want to continue beyond that journey, so again, folks have accomplished a heck of a lot just with this main program. So after that, do you join me in this journey? You don't have to. It's totally up to you. But those who do, then we do have some lessons on advanced Power BI, and we're building this as we go. And then, of course, we have this path of folks who want to succeed as Power BI consultants. So if you'll humor me, so learn Power BI, that's kind of the base, right? And then there's kind of advanced Power BI. And then I feel that there are two paths, right? So one path is, so again, the ladies who inspired me initially, that was Pam Baker, who basically went from a nobody inside Volvo to becoming a celebrity, literally a celebrity inside Volvo, where people would seek her out in the meetings, like, oh, you're the Power BI lady. Hey, can you help us with this? Can you help us with that? And she really had a pick of her jobs. I mean, she could go work in any department she wanted to, and I think she did. She did take a switch to the department she wanted to work with. So that was Pam, and that's her story kind of as an employee. And then there was Justina Bucks, who took the consultant route, and And sure, was it a struggle initially? Absolutely. But then she ended up with clients all over the world, New York, London, elsewhere, and ended up, kind of 4xing her income. So those are the stories that have inspired me. And so we have this part built out, right? So this is the Pro Plus program. We actually don't have something for this quite yet. I mean, of course, I support them through my existing programs, right? So the Learn Power BI and Advanced Power BI does support them, but we're also thinking of building something specific for this. I don't know. So just, kind of sharing what's going on my end. But yeah, but that's kind of the journey that we have. Learn Power BI Pro Level Pro Plus. All right, cool. How did I get started talking about that? I have no idea. We were talking about something. I think I was trying to go somewhere with that. Sorry, guys, I lost that thread. Okay, I think we're looking at the questions. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. My bad. So what I wanted to show you was what I built inside there. So yeah, if you just give me a moment. So Pro Power Patterns. And I'm going to pull that file up and I'll show you what we have there. Getting there, folks. You're going to like it. I promise. And by the way, the inspiration for that whole module came from a question asked by one of our Learn Power BI members, Diego Lopez, in one of an earlier Talk Power BI calls. So I saw that and I'm like, man, I've been thinking about it for a while. Let's just do it. So, and we ended up with this. So in the pro level, it's in the Power Patterns, and it's this guy since day 0. And again, as I said, this is like an R plus of video because I take my time and I go a lot deeper, explain it kind of step by step, and kind of the advanced stuff. So yeah, that's inside a pro level. But once this comes up, I'll at least kind of show you what we built over there. So Nadeem is asking, how can you use Power BI in private cloud or premises? By signing up for Power BI Premium. It starts at, I think, $5,000 per month. I don't know. I mean, so of course, if you have hundreds of users, then that's great. You're like, oh, awesome. If you don't have that many users, then you would be like, oh, wow, $5,000 a month. Generally, if you don't have that many users, then cloud is certainly the cheaper option because it's just $10 per user per month. But yeah, so Power BI Premium is the option. So folks, so what we ended up with was this. So again, we were trying to build that COVID-19 style graph of, since launch, since the starting date. And if you've seen the YouTube video, I talk about that, how this is a very generic pattern. It's obviously not just for kind of virus outbreaks, but you can use this for in HR and marketing and project management, all that sort of stuff, right? So imagine in project management, you're like, oh, these projects had different start dates. So this is the difference between a day 0 style graph versus this one, right? So normally this is what I was doing, right? So this is like different. Frankly, these were like different products we had launched in our company, and I was showing it by time. And dude, it didn't work, and I just like you can't tell what the hell is going on. And if you change that, so you do two things. One, you change that axis to not be the time when they were launched, because these products had different start dates, right? Different start dates. No, you want to compare it from like day 0, from the month 0, the first month they were launched, and then you make it cumulative, and it's so easy to spot the kind of the winners and from the losers, right? So, and again, you can use it in project management for showing different projects with different start dates. You can use it with employees, showing employee data with different start dates for the employees. Like, oh, right? So you say, oh, what did the employees do in the month 1? How many training hours did they get in the first month? That's same with project management. Like, how many hours did we spend on every project in the first month of the project? Doesn't matter when it started. Could have started this year, last year, I don't care, right? How much budget was spent in the first month, the second month. So you can compare kind of side by side, and it's beautiful, right? So you can see that, oh boy, imagine that this was project data. I was like, man, these projects, we spent a lot of money, and, we kind of amped up, and maybe it's going to make sense. Maybe it's going to surprise you. It's like, oh my God, why do you spend that much? I mean, how, and you can say, oh man, I mean, this project and this project were similar for similar clients, but this project spent quite a bit. Maybe it was mismanaged, or there's some other story, something like that, right? So again, data to insight. So once you see it, then you can draw some conclusions from it. So it can be used for project management, can be used for HR, can of course be used for kind of product sales launch, lots and lots of scenarios, right? But then we animated this. So I'm gonna show you this one. So this one, so this is what Diego had asked, like, Javi, how do I animate my graph, and why isn't it working? Oh, come on. Huh. Maybe I messed something up. What is it? It's supposed to work. Oh, it's still, it is slow. So folks, maybe I'm using a lot of my CPU or something. Oh yeah, there we go. So sorry, it's probably not gonna animate well because my CPU is probably tanked right now with the YouTube broadcast and so forth. But yeah, you can see how it is kind of playing out, and trust me. Okay, now it's kind of working. So yeah, so when I'm not running everything at once, it does kind of animate beautifully, right? So let's kind of see that again and say, yep. So month 7, and then we kind of play, and yep, it draws that out. So that's kind of the animation there. But, and this is what I actually discussed with Diego on the original call, and I had this theory that a scatter chart would work probably a lot better. So this is kind of the same information in scatter chart, and this is not that interesting data, but I think it's awesome, right? So scatter chart, playing scatter chart, you want it to look like this. Frankly, it has to look like this, right? So you notice the contrast between this versus what Vijay has right now, right? So, and again, maybe it's work in progress, but if you're playing scatter charts, they better be like this. So yeah, you don't want too many bubbles, and you want them to progress over time, which is obviously simple to do. That is cumulative, life to date, and that's it, right? So yeah, and of course you can track the journey, right? As they're moving, you can click on one and track the journey. And again, this data is kind of boring because they're growing in this linear fashion. But for a more realistic data set, you would see that they would like ebb and flow, and they would like, oh yeah, look, you would see kind of that comeback that I was talking about that Amir Nets showed. So yeah, man. I mean, so again, not great for operational reports. Don't use it, please. But great for storytelling. I was like, yep, I mean, it started low and then it came back up and so forth, right? So, and again, if the data was more interesting, not this random data. So that's your play chart. And folks who are in the pro level, you have all the step by step, all download files, everything on how that was built. Cool. So now I know how I got started on this from Vijay's scatter chart. All right, good. Okay, so folks, I don't see anybody else. So I would say let's do a last call for if you are here and you had submitted a dashboard. So we'll yeah. If you submitted it, we definitely want to. And if you're here, we definitely want to cover that. I am feeling maybe we'll take at least a quick look at Abdul Rahman's dashboard, since he was there earlier, but looks like he had to drop off. Abdul Rahman, if you're here right now on YouTube, definitely chime in. That would make it super awesome. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything on YouTube, folks. Can I submit one next week? Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Jonathan, you're definitely welcome to submit. We run this once every month, though. So, folks, now we have 2 standing monthly things that we do, and we're pretty excited about that. So, if you go into free resources, one is this should really be called Talk Power BI Q&A, because that's what it is. I should really change that. So, the first one is Talk Power BI God, I'm very tempted to change it right now. But so this is Talk Power BI Q&A, and again, we run this once every month. And this, for those who have seen it, you submit your questions, and they get lined up in this board, and we just go through the board and say, yep, who's here, who's present, and let's take your question and go from there, right? Oh, that's weird. So I see people it seems like they have been submitting questions for this. This one, when did this one come in? This one came in yesterday. Great. So you submit. So again, this is where the questions end up on this board, but you submit it using the buttons here, and students get their own button. And students, we do give priority. We love our students just a teeny bit more. I hope I'm allowed to do that than our YouTube followers. So we give preference to them. So I think here, what we do is so student submissions are kind of filtered, and you can see, I hope it's working right. Yeah, you can see. So we have the green ones are the student submission. The other ones are coming from our YouTube followers, which is all good, right? So and hey, if you're there, generally I stay till everybody who's there, their questions answered. So that's Q&A, and that's once every month. And then we do the dashboard showcase once every month as well. So again, folks, there are two ways to go about this, and I hear people obsessed with two things: working hard and learning more DAX. And it frankly drives me kind of crazy, because again, I've seen that it doesn't work. If you look at my students in my program, and I talked about the breakthrough success, and I've become obsessed with that, there was no common link. There are lots and lots of people in there who work hard. There are lots and lots of students who are really good at Power BI and DAX. But I'm not seeing them get that breakthrough success. And it kind of breaks my heart. But that's why I became obsessed with kind of studying it and kind of passing it on. And of course, in a way, our Pro Plus group, right? So the folks that I talked about where we're focused on helping them become successful Power BI consultants, that is basically a laboratory for me to test my ideas around this breakthrough success, right? So, and of course, we've had incredible results. I mean, you know these people, you've seen them on my channel, you've heard about kind of what they're doing. And of course, it's not just limited to that. I mean, Learn Power BI students are kind of kicking it out of the park. There isn't a free resources. There is free inspiration. That's probably my favorite page. Maybe we should just make it the home page or something. But I call this the wall of inspiration. And trust me, I go to this wall as well. When I'm feeling kind of down and out, then I'm like, man, I'm gonna go get inspired by my students. So this is basically all the awesome stuff that they do. So this has actually 3 sections: hashtag win, hashtag inspire, and hashtag love. So the hashtag win is something we do in our program every month. We choose a winner, they get a prize, they get an awesome prize, and it's exciting. We love celebrating the wins. And frankly, I learned this from my coach, and he said, Avi, celebrate all your wins, big or small. In fact, you should definitely celebrate the small ones, right? Because that's what builds things up. Because when you celebrate them, you're basically expressing gratitude, right? Gratefulness for that. And when you do that, life gives you more of that. Whatever we focus on, that grows, folks. But unfortunately, and I lived my life for that a long time like that, I focused on everything that was negative, everything that was not working. And certainly in this environment with the craziness going on, it's so easy to fall into that trap. But I mean, hasn't it happened to you, right? I mean, you stay focused on your problem, but the more you stay focused on them, the bigger they get, the bigger they seem to you, right? I mean, and I'm like that too. I get stuck in that cycle and like obsessed about something that is not working. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But the more I stay stuck there, the bigger and bigger it becomes. And hasn't it sometimes happened to you where you thought it was a big problem, but then you wake up, it's a brand new day, and you're like, all right, what happened? Well, the problem didn't go away, but the way you look at it changed, and you put your focus maybe somewhere else, maybe something you're grateful for. It's like, oh, well, but I have this, I have my family, and all that sort of stuff, something like that, and the problem becomes smaller. Whatever you focus on grows, so why not focus on our wins? So that's what we do for my friends, right? So, and just, look at the stuff that they're doing, right? I mean, client purchase a $40,000 engagement, that's great. First online training class, Somebody asked them to become the Power BI coach, finance direct, all this sort of stuff. And you can see it's kind of lined up. And frankly, for us, they're kind of becoming hard to pick winners. Like, how do we choose? They're all so awesome. So that's our line of winners. And again, we do this every month and celebrate that. And yeah, there's a fun prize there too. Hashtag inspires all these stories which have been focused. And man, there's such amazing stories. One of my favorites is this one, Jason Baldessari. And yeah, oh God, it's just incredible. So that's pretty awesome. And hashtag love is actually still under construction. That's the notes of love that students send. And I think my recent one was, God, I'm forgetting the name, something with a K. Can't recall now, but the person shared on our student community, and they said what I was shared earlier, which is like they had been using Power BI for 2 years, and like, oh my God, I mean, I wish I'd found this on day one because, I was stuck for so long, not really making progress. Now I really know what I'm doing with Power BI, right? So, all right, so that's that. So folks, anyway, so we were talking about Talk Power BI. So there's a Q&A, which we do once every month, and there's a dashboard showcase and Makeover once every month. And again, folks, right? I mean, if you want to go from just good enough, like, yeah, life is okay, I'm okay with this, things are going on okay, or you want to create the life that you want, create a great life. Like, why should I think that's everybody's birthright? And I think we settle. We somehow in the society, the structure, we're taught to settle. It's like, no. Don't try. Like, so one of my friends from New Zealand, she shared this saying, was like, oh, don't be a tall poppy, which I gotta explain. So poppy fields, all plants are about the same height, but if one grows a little bit taller than others, somebody can chop it off, or maybe they do chop it off. I don't know. I don't know the full story there, but so yeah, there's something that happens which lets us settle for good enough or okay. And I think that's a loss for all of us, for you for sure, right? I mean, for individually. Like, for me, I mean, I know the life that I was living, and it was okay. It was maybe even a good life, but man, it wasn't a great life. I mean, if you ask me and it's like, what life would you want, Avi? It wasn't that life. I wasn't living the life. And now I am. All right, cool, good stuff. So let me do a last check, see if somebody popped in and what is the name of your website? My website is learnpowerbi.com. Jonathan Macias, yep, you can definitely send screenshots. In fact, one of the dashboards we covered just sent screenshots. And of course, if you go here, the number one concern that I hear from people is, oh, I have sensitive data. Well, worry not. I show you exactly. So if you click on this link, it's actually a video, and I walk you step by step on how you can take screenshots and how you can blur out the sensitive data and get started. So again, the key is to get started on this journey for telling a story. So folks, this is our hope. Our hope is that students use this platform to start telling their story. Maybe they tell it for the first time. And we talked about this at the beginning. The first time you do it, that's going to be the worst ever, right? That's going to be your worst storytelling ever. But that's okay. Let that sentence give you the liberty to fail. I mean, we are so obsessed with kind of perfection and not failing and all that stuff. Trust me, failure is what you want. I mean, you've heard the creed from the Silicon Valley, right? Fail fast, fail often, fail forward, right? And that's true. If you don't learn, we rarely learn lessons from our successes. Boy, failure is a great teacher, and I can attest to that, right? Every time I've failed, I've learned a lot more. And that's what helps me become successful. So put it out there. Put it out there. What's the worst that can happen? Let it happen. Often the fear of that thing is far greater than the thing actually happening. Like once you do that, like, oh, okay. You're like, oh, I stuttered when I was speaking. I misspoke. I used the wrong grammar. Whatever. Let the worst happen. It's often not as bad as it's in your imagination. So again, but we hope that this is just a starting point. That you do this and you go, whoa, that was all right. In fact, I kind of liked it. Oh, that was cool, right? Let me do it again. And maybe you come back again. But then you realize that now that you have a story, you can stand up on all rooftops and shout it from there. And frankly, that's the kind of stuff that we were working with the Pro Plus group that I talked about. We're saying, hey, so recently these guys did the real Power BI presentation. I said, hey, now you have a story. Now, where is it? Now you got to get on all these rooftops and shout your story out, right? So maybe you do it in, well, so there are no virtual meetups or virtual conferences. Everything is virtual now, right? Or you do it in one-on-one settings, or you reach out to people individually on LinkedIn and then share your story, right? So there are so many ways, and that's how you can get business as a consultant. But guess what? The same principle applies for employees as well. So one of my friends was out of a job. So he was in between jobs. And I met him one day over coffee or something. And I said, his name was Shrikant. And I said, Shrikant, I've heard that networking is a great way to get a job. I think you should do that. And he said something which I'm never going to forget. And he said, Avi, you network when you have a job. When you don't have a job, you're just out there looking for a job, right? So, and that is true, folks, isn't it? I've been there. Everybody's been there, being on the job. When you're job hunting, when you don't have a job, right? When you don't have a job and you're out looking for a job, you're pretty much just looking for a job. Whoever you meet, you're like, yeah, you maybe do some small talks. Like, hey, do you have a job for me? Okay, you maybe not say it that way, but that's what's going on in your head, isn't it? So he said the time to network is when you have a job. And that's what a story lets you do. It lets you network and grow your network. And my coach talks about this phenomena, which he calls the, God, he has a nice word for it, but I don't know, the podium effect or something, or the stage effect. So I say this to my Pro Plus student, these folks, right? And I would say this to everybody. It's better to be speaking to an audience of 100 than be in the audience of 1,000. All right? Let that sink in. And of course, it works at any scale. It's better to be speaking to an audience of 10 than be in the audience of 100. It's better to be speaking to an audience of 1 than be in the audience of 10, right? So it works on any scale. So what I'm saying is, like, people go to conferences, right? And say, oh, I'm going to network at conferences. It's okay. But folks, when you speak, you go to a whole new level. As soon as you step up on the stage, they see you as authority. They're looking at you, right? So that puts the spotlight on you. Now, of course, it's your job to make the best of it, but that stage effect is extremely powerful. And the best part is that you can get this stage effect now without having to travel to a conference and apply to a speaker and anything, right? Because we got things like YouTube, we got things like LinkedIn. So folks, here's my prediction for the future. The future, or in fact, maybe it's already happened, maybe the future is already here, is going to be ruled by the creatives. Think about it. What is the biggest persona when you think about creativity? Who comes to your mind? In my mind, Steve Jobs pops up, right? I mean, what is Apple about? I mean, their phones are manufactured in China. That's not where the heart is, right? But it was the creativity. And if you think about it, what's happening with YouTube? What's happening with even TikTok? I'm new on TikTok, by the way. And so the folks, there are lots of people who scroll. How many people watch YouTube videos versus people who create it? And of course, there are a lot more, right? So again, I mean, we're getting a lot more creatives, and that's why the things are going to shift. Kind of, the world is shifting, and you see that. But still, I think the ratio is out of whack. I think it's way out of whack, right? I mean, for one person who's creating, even now, even with more people jumping on YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff, there are probably thousands, tens of thousands who are just consuming. So the world is shifting towards that. And storytelling, so of course what we do is also a form of creation, right? I mean, we create something, but you got to tell that story too. All right, folks. So I've kind of spoken enough about it. But anyway, that's some of the thoughts on general around this. So we'll call it a day for now, and we'll meet again next Friday, and it'll be an exciting topic. And of course, this Stock Power BI Q&A and the Dashboard Showcase, we'll be running it every month. So certainly look forward to seeing you in both of those. Submit your questions for the Q&A. Submit your dashboards for this to be showcased here. And I'll see you next time. Until then, power on.